we were looking for a good one. We were going to go with a different one, but this is really good. Can you make us 3,000 pounds a week? So I'm Googling as I'm walking out, how do you make 3,000 pounds of anything? Project what I want. I want to, I think Puff Daddy said one time, he's like, I moved into your living room. I want to move into your refrigerator.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Vegan View. On today's episode, we have a very, very special guest, Ayindè. Howell.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Tell them who he is.
Oh, well, Ayindè.
You should know.
They know.
Yeah, y'all should know.
Yeah. They know.
Y'all should know. Mac Yease. No, Ayindè, great person, great chef, celebrity chef, personal chef, private chef, amazing actor, filmmaker, writer, director, creator. Born vegan, y'all. He was born vegan. Your story. Tell us about you.
Oh, man, okay.
Who is Ayindè?
I didn't know it was going to be so philosophical. Okay. Who am I?
Deep question.
I'm a Virgo.
Okay, we're all Earth signs.
All Earth signs.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what's up. Okay.
All right,
Capricorn, Taurus.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My sisters are Capricorn and Taurus.
Wow.
So
And
I'm
I'm
already-
a Virgo rising.
Okay. We
we
yeah.
all we get each other.
Okay,
Yeah, we get
so-
each other.
So yes, I'm a Virgo. But so my the thing that I guess my my party line is I tell people I've been vegan all my life, especially when I'm around vegans because they're like, oh my god, it's so crazy. My mom lost her father early on in her pregnancy with me, and she was like, I'm gonna break the chain like this because he passed away from essentially complications of a bad diet. That dominoed till his health was, it was past repair. She made the correlation between what goes in your body to how your body reacts. Mm-hmm. And she decided that we were going to be vegan. Now, so my father was involved in the Black Panther Party, and my parents were involved in the civil rights movement pretty heavily. I guess at the time it was you could either, it's like now, it's you either Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it was kind of the same energy. So they were definitely on the, the Black Lives Matter side of it. And at that time, the sort of counterculture thinking, vegetarianism and veganism was something that was around. It wasn't anywhere near what it is today.
Right.
It was more like Whole Foods. For instance, we had a garden in the backyard.
Wow.
And so my connection to food is that when we had a potato that would sit in the fridge for too long, it would sprout. We put it in the windowsill on the back porch, it would sprout more. Then we put it in the ground, cover it with some dirt, and then months later potatoes would be there. And I was and so that's how I know about food, right? So I think about food in a completely different way, and I think about vegan food in a completely different way. I remember I was talking to somebody and I asked them what they thought about vegan food, and they said, oh, it's products. And I was like, see, that's not what it's supposed to be, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not about what brand or what product it is. It's really about how close you can get the food from the earth to the table. Mm-hmm. And that's how I grew up in it. So, people ask, was it for ethical reasons or was it for animal rights reasons? But it was more, my mom's philosophy was, if you can sort of take the cruelty or the violence out of the meal that you're feeding your kids, and then the person that you're growing, that maybe you can make a better human.
Wow, that's beautiful.
She sounds like a queen.
I love her.
Shout out to your mother.
Shout out to my mom.
Bring her
Yes.
next time. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
coming on.
Yeah.
You know what? She might enjoy that actually.
We
I
would
feel like
love
she
it.
has so much wisdom.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, she's she's 77 this year. I think she was 77. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. But yeah, that was her philosophy, and that was sort of what they started with, and they got some books. And because there was no Google, there was no.
Were your sisters already born?
They were born, yeah. They were
Okay.
born. So then they started when I came, and the whole family just transitioned and they explored.
Wow.
this
Ayindè came to the world
Wow.
and they just had to.
Little earth sign baby came.
Yeah. The fire starter. That's me. That's
Fire starter.
The fire starter. I feel like all the vegans wish we were born vegan.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing because, I work in the vegan world. I'm a chef. I've been a chef for a long time. I transitioned into selling food mostly because people would tell me like, oh, if I could be vegan if I ate the food that you cooked every day. And I took it to heart. People have told me that a lot. And so trying to find a way to actually do that has been my work as of late. But I tell people that, I can't tell you what it's like to transition into veganism, but once you get there, I can tell you how to live and how to thrive in that, because I try to have compassion and look at people and say, okay, if somebody came up to me and said, okay, Andy, you can't eat tofu or quinoa or tempeh or whatever, you just have to stop tomorrow. Like it's because it's killing you. Like I would cheat. I know that because that's what I grew up. I have so many connections to the food. It's what my mom made, but to be able to have some familiar taste and textures and flavors for people, especially people of color. I was traveling not too long ago in Atlanta and Houston, and just seeing what people are doing with vegan food in the South and sort of and how the interpretation of vegan food is
Right.
on a smaller scale versus how you see it on the broader scale where people have a lot of money, right? So you see Impossible Foods or Beyond Meat, and it's like, okay, we're trying to put in Carl's Jr. Like that's great, but everybody doesn't eat like that.
Exactly.
You know what I
yes.
mean? Everyone, you have to have a deeper understanding of how people actually eat food to cater to it. And I think that's where the vegan movement, I guess, kind of gets steered by more money interest in like what people actually want. So then it makes it less approachable for people because it's just like, you're not speaking to me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're not speaking my language. But I did see a lot of people doing some interesting, innovative things. I was just happy to see it. And like, I still think, we have to look at being vegan. I was about to say plant-based, but plant-based people eat meat now. I don't understand. I don't know. I'm sorry.
That term, I'm like, that means
I'm
nothing.
trying to steal that term for your marketing.
I'm plant-based. Here's my turkey sandwich. I'm like, but
With
What?
my eggs and my yogurt.
Yeah, just because like you're adding lettuce to a sandwich doesn't
Right.
make it plant-based. It's like last time I checked, sandwiches have always had some sort of vegetable
Right.
in there.
Right.
Or most.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, growing up vegan, so we used to shop at co-ops. I mean, like, I don't know what here is close to it. What is that? What's that store out in the valley?
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
Yeah.
That's like the closest I could say, but even more crunchy than that. Like those were the co-ops. Crunchy. Like, like vegan crunchy,
Yeah.
like hemp
Granola.
skirts and
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
hippie? Like hippie?
hippie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like crunchy better than
I use that term. People, I guess it has a lot of different meanings for people, but I know what I mean when I say crunchy.
I knew what you meant.
She gets it.
I get it.
But I was saying that to say that going to the stores like that growing up, that was where, that's where it was. And it just kind of hit this zenith, I don't know, in the past, like, I would say like 15 years where like vegan food and the access to it just really, really changed, where people, I'd say it's mostly on the coast. It's mostly on the coastal cities, but it's moving inward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's, it's like, of course, people in California are into vegan food. But I think people, from what I've learned about what I'm doing today, is that people have an interest in plant-based food, but it's like the actuality of what it is and how to get it and what to do with it, I think is still like a bridge, a gap to be bridged.
So I'm curious because you have Southern roots, right? And you grew up in Seattle. So how was that, especially like, as a black man, like, those chitlins and the mac and cheese and, all that stuff, it's very ingrained in our,
Well, yeah, so my father was from Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. And so there was a lot of that influence in the cooking. And it was him who wanted to expose us to what he used to enjoy.
Wow.
Because, so his father, my grandfather, was known in the town we grew up as the fried chicken man. Like he had a fried chicken shack and he made the best fried chicken in town. And so when I came along and they were like, oh no, he's vegan, he can't eat your fried chicken, it was an affront. It was like that's something, like people who have, strong family roots don't understand, like, oh, you're not gonna eat grandma's, you're not gonna eat granddaddy's stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
almost like offensive.
it was
Yeah.
offensive.
Yeah.
It was offensive. And so it caused so much so, I mean, it didn't knock my parents off of what they wanted to do as far as how they raised their family, but it made my father say, okay, well, how can I translate these flavors that I remember into something that is vegan so that my kids can enjoy it? And so that was the start of it, and I learned how to cook from him.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That is amazing. So being a chef runs in your family. It's like in your blood.
On both sides. So on both sides. Yeah, my other grandfather was a caterer. That was like his side business. He was a porter on trains, but his side business was catering. And they would throw parties and cook all the time. So food is definitely on both sides, and it's very strong.
Wow. Do you feel like they live through you?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like when I cook or when I'm creating in the kitchen, like you find I put on some music, I'm kind of in the groove, and I, like you hit a rhythm, and sometimes it's like you put a little bit more than you think it's gonna go in, but it comes out great.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh shit, like I hit it, yeah. Like so, I think that is them.
I'm really curious, like, how was it in school though? Like, how
I was
did you
gonna
go to
ask that.
school?
That's what
Like, like back then,
I was homeschooled.
Oh.
I was homeschooled.
That
Yeah.
saved you some bullying, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it saved some. There was definitely still the neighborhood kids and whatnot. But yeah, so my mom decided to homeschool us. I mean, at the time, being vegan was very counterculture.
Yeah.
Like doctors were like, you're going to kill your child and we're going to take them from you and give them to some proper parents. Like they literally, so they were like, whoa, no. Yeah, like Child Protective Services. I think a doctor threatened to call Child Protective Services about her not giving me milk.
Wow.
Cow milk.
Cow's milk.
Cow's milk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you read how backwards that is?
Oh my God.
Cow's milk.
And this
Cow's
was
milk.
yeah.
Cow's
For
milk.
the cow.
A cow's milk
Yeah.
Cow's
belonging
breast
to a
milk.
cow.
Right.
That's meant for a baby cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
Just wanted to
Wow.
make that clear.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, it was, it wasn't that long ago, but it clearly was in my lifetime. But yeah, that's how much the thinking around food has changed, and it's still, there's still people who believe that. I mean, there's still people who drink whole milk.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know.
I know, right? We talk about this all the time. We're like so grateful for Gen Z deciding to make cow milk disgusting.
Yeah.
So it's like if you drink cow milk, you're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why do you do that? That's horrible.
Yeah.
So as a kid growing up, even though you were homeschooled, but you still, felt like maybe like the influence of other kids like in your neighborhood or maybe like cousins. What do you remember being your reaction to people asking you questions at a young age?
So I grew up, so I was vegan. Actually had locks when I grew up. This is like, I'm just starting to grow
Crunchy
back.
shit.
Yeah, crunchy. You get it. You see what it was. So we were, and my parents were entrepreneurs. They had a corner store. They had the corner store in the neighborhood. So we were completely different at every turn. It was just like, there was everybody else in the neighborhood, and there was like, these... But they were like the center of the neighborhood, and they would cook. It was a thing. So the kids would be like, "Well, what's wrong with you? Like, oh, you're homeschooled. Oh, you must be dumb. What's 2 + 2?" Yeah, no, they would.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they would be like,
Kids are mean.
They're
Yeah.
So mean.
very mean. Yeah.
My kids better not be like that.
Come here.
You better be nice.
And then when it came to like the food stuff, they would be like, you eat grass, which is
I eat grass.
My company, yes, I flipped it on them, but yeah, no, it was always, I guess the feeling I remember was being an outsider.
Yeah.
Like, the feeling I remember was definitely being like an outsider and wanting, but I also believed in what we were doing. Like I liked it. The food was good. Like I was the youngest. I was just like, these people clearly must know what they're doing. Like
Right.
I just got here, so I'm gonna roll with it. And that's really how, because I rebelled in different ways, but I never like went to McDonald's and had a burger.
Yeah.
It just never interested me.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason it was, the takeaway I think from childhood, and the thing that I think is different now, especially in most cities, is that you can have a vegan kid and everybody understands it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. You can go to someone's house and they'll have, okay, well, he's vegan, I'm gonna have some food, and that wasn't the case for me growing up.
Right.
That wasn't at all.
Wow.
So did you ever have moments like when those kids would say things to you where you obviously felt like an outsider? Did you ever get those moments of like feeling maybe resentment or like wondering or like having to have a conversation with your mom, like, Mom, why am I like this? Why am I different than the
Yeah,
other
I'm
kids?
pretty sure I did. But also you have to put it in context of being a kid, right? And not paying the rent. Like, it was just like, they're like, this is what we do. I was like, okay. I was curious. Okay, no more questions. Okay, cool.
So you did not rebel. You were just like, whatever mom says.
I mean, like I said, in different ways. I mean, I think, you know, I can't point out anything that I'd be like, oh, I did this. And, you know, because I had 2 older sisters who were driving everyone crazy. So I didn't really have room to because, a Taurus and a Capricorn older sister. And they were... Yes, lighting the world on fire. And I was just like, I'm just here. And so my parents were like, hey, don't get shot, don't get anybody pregnant. We'll get to you later.
Don't get shot, don't get anyone pregnant. We'll get to you later. That's funny. That's real.
That's pretty much what it was. Yeah. They were so focused on them. I was just, and you know, again, being the youngest, you know, you kind of observe everything. I was just learn. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And so I was into music and, you know, I put my energy into other things.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think it's impossible. I used to babysit a lot of kids. And when I tell you the younger ones, like whenever I had to feed them meat because their parents would tell me what to feed them, the younger ones always rejected it.
Really?
Always rejected it. And if they had like an older sibling that was maybe 3 or 4, they were eating the meat. But the babies always like the 1-2-year-old always rejecting the meat.
It's almost like they know.
Every single time. I kid you not.
Wow.
Yeah. Babies know.
They do.
It's like, I don't want this.
Yeah, and then they get 3 and 4 and it's been shoved down their throat so many times that it's like.
Well, I think that's the thing, you know, and I think that's the takeaway from when I look at like what my parents did and I think about like the family I want to have. I'm like, oh, what did I like? What would I change?
Right.
And I think that instilling in a child like a way of eating, it's like a way of thinking. It's almost like the same as religion, right? It's like you instill these things in at a young age, and like you can circle around them, but what works for you. And it's also like your physicality. It's like if you, for instance, when they say, oh, a woman is pregnant, oh, I'm eating for 2 now, right? So the food builds the baby. So when you're from 0 to however old you are, if you're only eating a certain type of food, you're building in different things than if you're eating chicken nuggets and French fries, which is, you know what I mean? It's a different, you know, the person, you know, we look the same, but what goes into the building blocks of the actual body is very different.
God bless my future vegan baby.
So what led you to start being a chef for work? Like, I know you grew up in a household with chefs and it was kind of always a part of your life, but then that's just kind of how it happened. That's
how it started. Yeah, I definitely grew up around it. Like, I started working in my mom started a business of distributing vegan food to like the local health food stores and whatnot when I was about 13. And I started working with her. I was like going on the deliveries and we would be making, I think my job at the time was making potato salad.
Yum, I want some right now.
But it was so good.
It was. I actually perfected potato salad, to be honest.
Wow.
I made it all the time. That was the thing that I made.
Thanks for bringing some today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I got you.
Okay, we're going to do that Ayindè how taste test soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'll bring food. Yeah, we'll do like a little food segment.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Mac Yease is at Whole Foods, right?
Mac Yease is at Whole Foods. Yes, and we're rotating.
And then how did you get to that? Like, that's insane.
And Costco.
And Costco. Rotating in Costco, yeah. So, grew up in the food business in Seattle. I started a cafe up there, and I started making Mac and Yease in this cafe. But my thing was sandwiches. I made like burgers and like subs.
What was it called?
Hillside Quickies Vegan Sandwich Shop. Did you used to go there?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes, and it was so good.
Come on.
Yes. What?
Yeah. 41st in Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah, we became vegan over 11 years ago.
Okay.
So we lived in Seattle.
Yeah.
And it was like when we first became vegan and that place was like, okay, there's good vegan food.
Right.
We're going to be okay.
So you helped them on their journey.
Wow.
Look at this
11 years
full
ago.
circle moment.
We're
I
long
love
lost
it.
friends. We just didn't know it.
Didn't know it.
Wait, what'd you make the meat, or what was the meat in the sandwiches?
It was tofu, tempeh, or seitan.
Yeah.
Is it still open today?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
When will you open it in LA?
Yes, I want to tofu.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
I know.
Well, you know
This
what?
is cutting edge journalism.
No, you right to the point. When are you opening? I think about it often. I think I was thinking I might do a pop-up or something like that. Because I miss it. You know, like there's good like burger places here, but I haven't seen what I was doing.
Yeah.
But no, I used to play like hip hop music and stuff in my cafe back before anyone else did it. I just want to make that point.
Okay.
Because now you walk into any vegan place and it's blaring. I'm like, You're welcome.
We know who did it first.
Yes, exactly. You know.
I know.
So anyway, I was making the Mac there. I hit a point. I was like, I'm not cooking anymore. I quit. I moved to New York. And I was like, being an artist, and I was doing spoken word, and that came about because I would have these little nights at the cafe where we had spoken word artists and stuff, and my friend had a night. And I was like, I think I can write. And I started doing that. I was pretty good at it. And that led to acting. And then, like I said, having worked from 13 up until however old I was when I left, I think it was 26. Then I moved to New York. I was just kind of being an artist in New York. I lived in Brooklyn. I had done a film in Seattle before I left, actually. I'd done one film in Seattle before I left. And I landed, within 6 months of being in New York, I landed like a lead role in his independent film for the Afropunk guys. It was like his James Spooner's second film. And then the stock market crashed in 2008. And then I was volunteering at this yoga place / restaurant in Union Square to get like free yoga classes. If you ever move to a new city, you want to meet people or like, do shit for free, just volunteer. That's my tip to everybody. So I started just volunteering in different places in New York, and then the yoga studio was one. They had a third of it was a cafe, and 2/3 was it was called Jiva Mukti. I think it's closed now. But anyway, I was talking shit to somebody, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to be a chef. And then the owners were like, oh, we're looking for a vegan chef. We heard about you. They wanted to meet me. I said, oh, okay. And then they offered me the job of executive chef, and I was like, no, thank you. I'm an artist. Just take my volunteer going on the way. So at that time, I was also making music, but that was like kind of falling apart. And I was noticing like, oh, I think the Lehman Brothers just crashed or something like that. I was like, I should probably get a job. So they offered again, and I took the job, and I decided I was just gonna like focus on that, put myself through acting school. So I was an executive chef and in acting school in Manhattan, which seemed like a good idea, but
I bet you were tired.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was because I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I was just like, well, if I want to work for someone, I'm gonna put the money to work for me in the future. Right. The cafe was in the red and sort of failing, and they couldn't find the right chef, and a few different chefs had been through there, and I had lied to them and said I was an executive chef, but I only work for myself, so I gave myself the title. So, so I was like, I got to prove to these people that I can do this. We changed the menu and hired people and cleaned it up and painted it and all that sort of stuff. And I started playing my hip hop music, and then we started to get the business back. And so within a year, just from working. Just focused on that, like it went from 0 to like 100. It was like a really great thing to see that I could do. I understand it's closed. It was in Union Square. It was the second floor, so it was hard to get to. But they had a lot of people come in for the yoga classes, but nobody really liked the cafe. So I think I took over the summer of 2008, I believe. And by the time we were getting like maybe 20 customers a day. And by September of 2008, I think we were getting like over 200 customers a day. Wow. And working in a kitchen and working, I don't know, it's all kind of mathematics. So like once you get a system together, like it's going to work. So I did that. Then after I got tired of working for people, I was like, I'm going to retire from this because they didn't want to give me more money, and they told me I couldn't play my music anymore. That was really the last straw.
I can't play my music.
Yeah. They were like, no, you have to play different. It's like, but this is what you brought. This is me.
This is you being the executive chef.
It's an all-encompassing experience.
I'm an experience.
Okay.
For the senses. So then I did pop-ups for a while. I did a pop-up in Brooklyn for about 6 months. It was like waffles. It was like different kinds of waffles. Okay, I know. Yeah. I didn't bring anything. But
I know. I'm like, stop talking about it.
Yes. It was. But it was like an orange creamsicle waffle and like a peanut butter and chocolate waffle, a Reese cup waffle. Yeah, and I did like a free jack, like a corn flapjack style waffle that was like spicy with like vegan cheddar and jalapenos in it. It was a vibe.
So you don't bring anything and you explain things like that?
Like my mouth is watering.
You could have just been like, I made waffles, but no, we went into detail.
No, there were special waffles. I'm trying to tell you, it was special waffles. And I did a big pop-up in New York called Wildflower, which was like a 3-day, 5-course night kind of dinner thing. It was really, it was kind of in the time. Remember when pop-ups were all the thing? Every chef was doing. I was like, I got to do one because every chef is doing one. And then I did that for a while, and then I started to do doing private work for India IRE. I did that for like 2 years. We traveled around. I got to travel like you travel, and I got a reputation in the private chef world for being the guy who can make good vegan food, you know, and at the time we were, you know, it was in super special diets. So whatever it was, if it was candida or whatever it was, it's like, okay, I can feed you.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. I wrote a cookbook called The Lusty Vegan, which is about like vegans and non-vegans in relationships. It's like a narrative cookbook, and how, it's The Lusty Vegan, a relationship manifesto for vegans and the people who love them. That's what it is.
Oh, I love that.
Because, you know, I mean, as vegans, a lot of times you might like somebody who's not vegan, and you might be in a relationship with someone who's not vegan, and you're like, okay, well, how do we, like, who gets the pots and pans, or like, you know, if you want to do that at all. It's funny because I just moved, and I realized that my house is, you know, like it's virgin. I got a new stove. I got all my new stuff.
Wow,
so it's like, and like, so as, you know, dating, I had this young woman. She wanted to like heat up her ramen, and it was like pork ramen, and I was just like,
how do you
in
know?
your pot, like
not in your new pot. It's vegan household.
I was like, how do I? What do I
expel this bad energy? Like sage afterwards.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
You
let her do it in the microwave?
I don't have a microwave.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, so
I always say that if I didn't live with my parents, I wouldn't have a microwave either. I would just use a stove.
So I let her use it. I heat it up in a specific pot, and but I was just like,
not the
and then
pork though.
And then you lit it on fire.
Out
of
all the meats,
right? Like
the pork.
The pork.
Yes.
The swine.
Yeah. And and it was such a tense moment. She's like, oh my God. I was like, all right. And she knew I was uncomfortable, and she was uncomfortable.
And she still wanted to. And she still did. I'm sorry, Ayindè. I hope you're not.
She's a no.
Don't. That's not what that was for.
Well, because come on, you don't go to a vegan's house and you know that they're vegan. Like, it's okay to date non-vegans, whatever, respect each other, but don't go into a vegan's house and try to heat up your non-vegan food in their pots and pans.
And it's an uncomfortable situation for
everybody.
Yeah. Well, especially if you see the vegan's reaction and you're like, if there's like even like, you know, a little bit of hesitation, it's like, oh no, don't worry about it.
And like your whole life, like a part of you is like, this is a part of who you are. This is your being. Yeah. I had a party once, and the next morning I opened my fridge and I saw KFC in my refrigerator, and I literally screamed, and I was like, because people had spent the night. I was like, who put KFC in my fridge? Because what? What? Yeah. I don't see that in my kitchen. I'm sorry you have to go through that. Yeah, throw the whole fridge out. Yeah. Oh God.
So, yeah, it's a very touchy topic. You know.
He's got a whole cookbook, so you guys check it out.
Okay, so you did the cookbook, and
did the cookbook, and then I settled here in LA because I wanted to be back on the West Coast, and then I started to just sort of hustle with the Mac Yease. I would do like. Was it Eat Drink Vegan, Vegan Street Fair. I would like cater lunch at PETA offices. I was just kind of doing all the, you know, the circuit, you know, chefs who are out here doing the circuit and whatnot. And then one day, I was going to get some vegan ice cream because I was being a little piggy. I was like,
being a little piggy.
I was
story of our lives.
I was
really the show. Yeah,
you're in the right place.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're with 3 Miss Piggies.
Okay, so like I woke up and it was a Sunday, and I was just like, I was gonna do yoga, and I was like, I think I want ice cream. So I go out to get ice cream. And I'm just kind of eating it by myself, and it was it's a yoga art I went to.
Yeah,
yoga art, the one out in Glendale, the OG one. Yeah,
delicious.
So I'm outside in the front, and she was like, "Oh, I think some of your friends out in the back doing the review thing." So I go out back, and it's a bunch of vegan bloggers and whatnot. And was it Janine? Yeah, Janine. She was like, "Hey, oh my God, you need to meet Megan. This is Ayindè. He makes this great vegan mac and cheese, and Megan works at Whole Foods." And so I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Megan's like, oh, actually, we're looking for a vegan mac and cheese. Would you be interested in like coming in and showcasing it for us? And I was just like, yeah, whatever. Because you have to understand, at this point in my life, a lot of people have been like, oh, I'm going to make you rich, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. finger guns, man. Yeah, like this plant-based stuff is taking off, man.
And they always have that voice, don't
Yeah.
they? Like,
Oh yeah, this is great, man. Yeah, you can do this all day. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, whatever. It's nothing but another batch of mac and cheese. I'll make some mac and cheese.
Yeah. You've been making it since you was born.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
Yeah.
So I go down to the little warehouse and make it, and then like all these people file in. And yeah, and they eat it. and they taste and like, oh yeah, okay, we were looking for a good one. We were gonna go with a different one, but this is really good. Can you make us like 3,000 pounds a week? And I said, yep, yes I can. Yes.
Always say yes.
Always say
later.
yes. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm Googling as I'm walking out, like, how do you make 3,000 pounds of anything?
It's not 300 pounds.
3,000 pounds every week. Every week.
3,000 pounds. Okay, how to put this into context? Like, how heavy is like one thing of mac and cheese?
1 pound.
Wow.
1 pound. The thing that I had to sort of learn from being I was all these different versions of a chef, right? And then this part of the food industry is different because you're becoming part of the food chain. Yeah. So like your kitchens have to be regulated by the FDA and so it's a whole nother level. So there was no way that I could do it myself. And I kind of wanted it that way because it forced me to like, okay, I got to go find something, a way to do this. And I eventually found what's called a co-manufacturer. Basically, when you go to the store, the Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, and you get those like packaged food, there's like usually 1 or 2 plants that make different brands for everybody. And they just, and so this particular one, they specialized in vegetarian and vegan food. And the guy, they don't usually take on startups, but the guy was like, I like your name, I like your attitude, I'll take you on. And that's how we got started.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't, and he didn't, there was none of that. There was no finger guns. There was no voice. He was just,
no false promises.
Yeah. Just like this older, I think Armenian man. He was just like, I like you, kid.
He's like, you want to work for real? Show up here 7 a.m.
Yeah. Right. It was one of those vibes. Yeah. Because I think that's the thing to look for, especially when you're an entrepreneur. Like you pass all the glitz and the finger guns. It's like who like can see that you have a good work ethic, who believes in you, and can like give you that. And because if he didn't do that, I wouldn't have that to talk about.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I'm always thankful for that.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
But also being at the right place at the right time with the whole yogurt, like you just went. And
yeah.
that was fate.
Crazy.
Follow your intuition.
Right. Sometimes it ain't yogurt. Sometimes it's ice cream.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the move.
Yeah. So don't feel bad when you go get ice cream
instead of going to yoga.
You did yoga at work, so.
Yeah. See, I was already there.
Yeah, you were already
there. Well, I have to tell you that mac and cheese of yours has gotten me through many shifts because I used to work right next to the Whole Foods on Santa Monica in Hollywood.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I would walk over there on my break. I got a 30-minute break. Walk over, pile a big old box of the mac and cheese, sit there and eat it, and then walk back to my shift.
Nice.
Thank you.
So many times I've been trying to build like a healthy box at like Whole Foods, and I'll be like, okay, like Brussels sprouts, and then I see the mac and cheese, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
I didn't even add the vegetables. It was just
I always start with that intention, and then it's mostly just like mac and cheese, and then like a Brussels sprout.
Like there, I did it.
The intention that counts.
Yes.
Wow. So like, oh my God, because isn't it from like a family recipe or something?
Yeah. So the again on the line of like my father, his grandmother used to do a baked mac and cheese on Sundays. And so that was what he started to try to recreate that. And then he kind of got the recipe to a certain point. And then when I started the cafe in Seattle, if you make something every day, you start to figure it out. So I started to like kind of figure it out. And then that is essentially what we have today. So the recipe evolves, and it had to evolve to sort of reach a broader audience. And so I kind of took 2020 and revamped the recipe and sort of retooled it so it could go further. It could be frozen and still keep the creaminess and whatnot. And then that gave us the ability to move into Costco and to do more like direct to consumer shipping. It was a family recipe that's, like I said, it still sort of evolves.
Do you ever get tired of eating mac?
I would literally just ask that. I was like, is your fridge just full of it?
Like, you can have it supply.
My fridge definitely is usually full of it. I'm either testing or some version of it. I mean, I go in and out, of course. It's funny. So my birthday party, I did a batch of. Did you get some?
I got the last batch of his Mac Yease at his birthday.
And
everyone tore it up.
Yeah, it was. I actually discovered something new with that batch.
Really?
It was. I was making it, and it was like a little happy accident. So, again,
it did taste a little.
Yeah, somebody was like, "This ain't what you sell." I was like, "You're at my house, so obviously it's going to be different." But I did. It was just like a combination of two formulas. It came out really good. Yeah. Yeah, it came out really good. I got into Costco from I asked my co-packer, and I said, "Hey, it was after 2020, and we weren't selling on the hot bar because the hot bar was closed."
Right.
I was like, "I gotta innovate or die." I was like, "Do you have any contacts?" And he said, "Yeah, maybe reach out to this lady at Costco." And I reached out to her, and it was a similar situation. She was like, "Yeah, we need some product-based stuff. I like your vibe. I like your food. Let's give it a shot." Like your name, yeah. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, let's give it a shot. It's a learning curve for me because it's the difference between like where I started was I would just send them a case of Mac Yease, and they would put it in their oven and put it on the hot bar. This is now in a package that has to go on a shelf, and so people need to see it, and the packaging has to look a certain way, and it's a lot more than I'm honestly learning it. But it's cool to, I think about it like growing up in a convenience store and then seeing products that I make on the shelf at a store.
It must be amazing.
It's very full circle, and I don't take enough time to like really realize that. I'm like, oh, like I really closed the circle. Because that's what I used to see, and that's how I think about it too. I'm like, okay, well, what else can I make that somebody would want? Like people will come in and buy, whatever you go and buy, like how do you tap into that? That I'm gonna buy this every time I go to the grocery store.
It is irresistible. I've seen it in the package, and it's like you just gotta grab it. And it's so
there's a lot of not good vegan mac and cheese out there, so why waste your time?
Exactly.
There is. Yeah.
And that sells somehow, so I don't know.
Yeah, it does. I don't get it.
It's the noodles for me and the Mac Yease. It's like something about the pasta noodles. It's like a certain kind of softness, like in a certain kind of shape that like I feel like I don't really have, mac and cheeses. They don't have that.
It's very unique.
Yeah,
for sure.
So what's next for you?
Well, what's next for me is, let's see.
You don't have to know.
No, I was just thinking of.
Because I don't know what I'm eating for breakfast tomorrow.
No, but I think like if I could project what I want, I want to, I think Puff Daddy said one time, he's like, I moved into your living room. I want to move into your refrigerator, like America's refrigerator. I want there to be like staples in the kitchen, so that if it's one kid in the family who wants to be vegan, or if it's a whole family that wants to be vegan, they can say, oh, I know I can get this, and the person will be satisfied, and we'll round out the meal. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. That's what I want to be able to give that option to people, because I didn't have that option.
Like I remember after school I would eat like the little frozen things and the TV dinners and stuff. Like how cool would it have been to pop in some Mac and Yease after school?
Well, these will be new traditions like in 20 years. We'll be like, oh, I remember growing up I used to have Mac and Yease all the time, so I've been eating this for a long time.
Yes.
I think
that's no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I think that's what it is though. It's like new traditions and creating new memories with healthier options. Because our traditions are great, but they can trap us and peer pressure us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're supposed to do this. Like, no, you're supposed to live well.
Yeah. It's about embracing like culture and tradition, but making it work for you and making it, be healthier and serve everybody.
Yeah.
I also think that also ties in with why a lot of people are super defensive when, you suggest the idea of veganism to them, is because their food is, a lot of it's like nostalgia. It's like thinking back to what they ate all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like attacking something that's like so
part
personal
of their life,
to them.
right?
And I think a lot of the time they don't even realize that that's what it is.
No, I don't think so. I think we underestimate how much emotional weight is in food.
Whew.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm the queen of emotional eating. That means happy and sad. That means content and depressed.
You're like any emotion.
I'm an emotional eater.
Especially like me when I'm stressed. Oh, time to eat.
Time to eat. I'm happy. Time to eat.
I'm sad and I'm crying.
Time to eat. I'm pissed off. Time to eat.
No, but seriously, like when there's like a really traditional Bulgarian dish that I grew up eating all the time, and I decided during 2020 to film a video making it and trying to veganize it.
Yeah.
And I bit into it and I got emotional because I hadn't had it these past 10 years since I went vegan, because I didn't think to even try to just replace simple ingredients. I was just like, well, can't eat that anymore.
Wow.
So I get it.
Well,
we can do this all day.
Ayindè is coming back.
Ayindè is coming
And
back.
with food.
Bringing food.
With his mom.
And his
Yeah, my mom.
His mom.
Shout out
is
to
gonna be
his
there.
mom.
Yes.
I can't wait to meet her and just give her a hug.
Yeah, we should come for a mukbang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, an Ayindè
Oh, yeah.
mukbang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Great.
bring some stuff.
You guys all have to hold him accountable now.
Yeah. Go in the comments.
Go find us
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ayindè, go back on the vegan view.
Yeah.
It's been 1 week since I saw you on the video. Where are you?
Where's the food?
Yeah, we'll link everything on where to find him in the description box down below. And why don't you let them know where they can find Mac Yease?
So they can find Mac Yease primarily. You can go to IEatgrass.com. That's IEATGRASS.com. We do 2-day shipping all across America.
Come on, y'all. No excuse.
No excuses.
Wisconsin, Arkansas,
Everywhere.
Georgia,
Yeah, it might be.
Wyoming,
Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota.
Montana.
Okay, well,
Get that.
We get it. We're going to name all 50 states.
I was like, wait, what are we missing? What are we missing? Tennessee, Mississippi,
Missouri.
Like someone's going to be like, you didn't say my state.
Montana,
You're too
Washington,
deep.
Montana,
You didn't say your state.
Michigan.
Leave it down in the comments.
Michigan.
And also, if you're on the West Coast, you can go to Costco or Whole Foods, and that's Whole Foods as well in what are we at? Las Vegas, Arizona, and then also Maui and Oahu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You were such an
Thank you so much.
inspiration.
Thank you.
And
Thank
yeah.
Love chatting with you and hearing
No,
your
this was
story.
this was
Thank
amazing.
you.
we can't wait to eat with you
I'll
soon.
be back
Yes.
with food.
Can't wait to eat your food.
Yes.
You're on the show.
Here on the show.
And maybe even some
I
waffles.
hear y'all.
Loud and clear.
Oh man, waffle maker. Man.
Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe to this channel, join our Facebook group, and we'll see you next week for another episode.
Bye.
Bye.